you've caught me mid-wash. Welcome at the tap end again. Here we are, an absolute pleasure today for the guest who is at the tap end, who I'll say hello to very shortly. But yeah, just had to finish washing myself. So the gentleman that I have the pleasure of chatting to today is on the podcast in a few weeks' time. I met him probably about 6-7 years ago when he was in the world of improvement. And since then, he is now the lofty heights as operations director at Ornua Ingredients. So, Mr. Peters, welcome to the tap end. How are you?
I'm very well, Lee, and looking swimmingly delectable.
Yeah, thank you very much, I think. So, yeah, no, thank you. And thank you for joining me at the tap end today. But for those people who don't know who Nigel is, who's Nigel? And how has he got to the tap end?
Well, Nigel Peters, operations director at Ornua Nantwich. I've been in food manufacturing 25 years. Started off as an agency temp all those years ago, and progressively just gone through the ranks as an operator, team leader, supervisor, shift manager, production manager, factory manager, head of continuous improvement, and then operations director.
Amazing. Well, congrats on that journey as well. And what do you think that people have seen in you to keep you going, like to this rank that you find yourself in currently?
High work ethic, passion, drive, people person, taking people on the journey with me, not frightened to put my hand up and say, I don't know that, but you do. So can you tell me what it is I need to know? So I think learning from others definitely has been part of that journey. Couldn't have done it without many people around me. I have a fantastic team. You're as good as your team. So whilst I am where I am, I have a brilliant team behind me that make my job just that little bit easier.
Would they say you're a good leader?
Oh, I would hope so. Look, without trying to sort of get too self-imposed, I think they would say that I do a decent job. Do I have some areas of improvement? Obviously, we all do. But there's no one perfection in anybody. So I certainly strive to just always say, how could I do something better tomorrow that I did yesterday?
Yeah, has that always been the case? Because you said, and when we first met, you were in improvement, you was the head of continuous improvement. Has that striving to do better every day always been part of you, or is that some of what you got from your improvement stuff?
Yeah, I think I've always been inquisitive. I think that's the piece. I think just always wondering why it is that we do what we do, and not to be too entrapped in the status quo. Just because we do it today doesn't mean it's how we're going to do it tomorrow. And I say it on my podcast actually, but I like to put analogies with things just to give it some context or to be able to resonate with it. But it's a bit like when you buy a house, or you move into a house, or you rent a house, or you move into a room and you see it and it's got flowered wallpaper, or you're stripping the wallpaper off and you see pink flowers or purple wallpaper, and you think, oh my God, who in their right mind would like that? But in the 70s, it was the thing that was the rage. And actually what it's saying is, but it's not the rage anymore. And it's the same with that inquisitive mind. It's saying just because it's the rage now doesn't mean it has to be the rage tomorrow or in a week's time or a year's time. So always looking for that next moving point and being ahead of the curve.
Do you have pink flowery wallpaper, Nigel?
Not anymore. I did in the 70s, but not anymore.
You're not old enough. You're not old enough. Oh no, amazing. So if we just talk leadership, and you said people person. So I work with a number of different businesses and different leaders and stuff, and some people classify themselves as a people person, other people classify themselves more as a process and metrics and strategy and stuff. What do you think makes a successful leader?
Well, sometimes people go management and leadership, and there's lots of phrases and sentences that people that people will say, but I suppose management is doing the right things, and leadership is more about doing the right things. So, does that make sense? Am I confusing you?
Yeah, I'm lost. No. I could do with an analogy. Yeah, I mean, my brain's going. We need a Nigel analogy if he's got one.
Well, you do the right things because it's a process. Yeah, so you have to do the right things as a process. I have to do this thing because it's a process. Whether it's a CCP or it's compliance or whatever. Whereas leadership is aspiring to get it right, aspiring to get it right. And you fall into the trap sometimes of right first time. So we're in management, it's right first time. Like compliance is about right first time. Leadership is about doing the right things, but actually don't be wrapped up with right first time. Be comfortable to fail. Be comfortable to go down those dead ends. And I talk about being on a journey and making sure that you map out what the future looks like. And actually, to map it out, you do have to go down a couple of dead ends every now and again to realise and understand that's the wrong way. That isn't the way I need to go. But I now know that. So because I know that, I can inform and let everybody else know behind me as I lead them along. Don't turn left at that next junction because that's the wrong way. I've already been down there and I've paved the way, if you like.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. When you were talking, then I was thinking that we manage things and we lead people, and there's a difference between both of those things. And then you went on to articulate around the journey, and we learn by doing as opposed to having to get it right first time and stuff. But there's still a lot of cultures and a lot of organisations that encourage this right first time from a leadership perspective, as well as a process perspective, which makes failure not acceptable. Have you ever encountered that?
What failure is not acceptable?
Yes.
Have you heard the phrase failure is not an option? How many times have you heard that phrase?
Yeah.
I need this doing, and failure is not an option. Oh my gosh! Talk about constrain somebody, and I think that. That's the short-sightedness around empowerment and growth and development, people, and allowing people to inquire and be inquisitive. Sometimes when you're inquisitive, you have to try things. Stripping the wallpaper. I wonder what's behind here. I wonder whether I want to actually strip this wallpaper off. And then you kind of get a little bit inquisitive. And then when you decide what you're going to put on next, is it going to be a pink wallpaper, a purple wallpaper, a grey paint, a blue paint? Be inquisitive and finding out what's right, what you want it to look like. Sometimes you have to try 2 or 3 different things. Sometimes you get it right first time, and other times you don't.
No, completely. And I think from a leadership perspective as well, if you can demonstrate that you're doing things and trying things and not getting it right first time, it makes other people feel more comfortable to raise their hand and go, I've got an issue with this, there's a challenge with this, and stuff like that. I think it's
people look at the word, it's a good word you've just used there, challenge. People look at the word challenge, and as I'm going to challenge somebody, or I've got a challenge against. I'm going to put my hand up and I'm going to say I'm not happy with that, and look at that as a negative word, as a restrictive word. But actually, challenge is for me is a positive word, because it's saying, I'm the gatekeeper of all that is good, or all that should be right, and I challenge every time it's not, or I challenge that we could be better. And if we don't have that word to say, I challenge that we could possibly be better than we were today, then we would always stay in that status quo.
Yeah, completely. How have you created this environment, or working towards this environment? What things have you had to put in place to make that more acceptable?
Structure. So good structure, forums. We've all been guilty, I suppose. That email tennis is a good example, where people, copy somebody else in and bring somebody else in to give it more, gravitas. I'm not happy with your with your response, and I'm going to respond, but I'm also going to copy my boss in just to let you know how unhappy I'm about it. And before you know it, it's, well, I'm going to get my dad. Well, if you're going to get your dad, I'm going to get my mum and dad. And all of a sudden, you have this forum, which is email forum, and it's not allowing conversation and challenge to happen in a structure. So actually, if there's a way of if there's a debate that needs to be had, it's in a structure. It's in the morning meeting. It's in the technical meeting. It's in the health and safety meeting. It's in the top 3 loss meeting. It's in the engine, whatever you want to call it. It's in the HR meeting. It's in the recruitment meeting. It's in the training meeting. They sit in a forum, and that's where it's it. And if you've got a challenge, come along to the meeting that's structured. It's on a Wednesday, on a Tuesday. It's at 1 o'clock. It's not on an email. And it's not where somebody's trying to work out who should or shouldn't be on the email chain. There's a forum that happens on a certain time of the week. That's where the discussions are made.
Yeah, got it. Love it. And when you started, you said you were a people person, and a lot of people's favourite time of the year is fast approaching, but it's not yet Christmas, I don't believe.
It's not Christmas. And for these people that are putting up their trees in just shy of the back end of summer, then... yeah, just wait until it's Christmas, guys. Come on.
Yeah. But what you were showing me as well, just before we went live, you're in the boardroom of your place of work currently, and you've got a little Advent thing going on, haven't you? Yeah. So we have a committee meeting where we come up with ideas and things that we can just create engagement, and we can make good of certain things. So, for instance, we've got, and before we go on to that, and I'm just going to take this opportunity, it's International Men's Week for us. And so we've got prostate cancer coming to site this week to do a talk with the team. And I got the information pack today, and I literally have found something new today. So 1 in 8 people, men, suffer with prostate cancer. And so we've got this thing that says, Know Your Prostate, a quick guide. Yeah.
So in the pack was this one with it, information for black men.
Right.
I was like, I might be interested in that one for some reason. Let me just open that. 1 in 4. So wow. I didn't know that. So all of a sudden, it's already added value just by having that talk, and we haven't even kicked that off, which is on Wednesday. But anyway, going back, so in terms of the people thing, yeah. So we have this committee meeting. That was one of them about International Men's Day and what we're going to do to celebrate that. Yep. And then because of Christmas, we're not doing the Christmas parties and so forth as much. We're doing sort of localized things on site. We've got hampers, and we'll have a Christmas quiz and stuff. And then we said, we'll have an advent calendar, and we'll give out a load of advent calendars. And then somebody went, that's a bit soft, just giving out advent calendars, so it kind of ticks the box, who well done. But so we said, well, let's think out the box. Let's do something differently. Let's move it on a notch. So we said, well, let's create our own advent calendar. Let's make a full-size advent calendar, one for each day of the week, of each day of the month, sorry. And then we'll put a prize inside. We'll put all the employees into a prize draw, and each day in the morning meeting, we'll pull out a name, and they get to open the advent card. So the guys built this beauty. So
amazing.
Yeah. So basically, there's 25 boxes, obviously, and at the top, I don't know if you can tell, but that's the gold box.
Right.
So there's a gold box for the 25th, of course. So on that one, we won't be here on the 25th, of course, but on a couple of days before, we'll have a couple that are drawn, and then you go down, smash open that piece of paper, and see what's behind.
I love that. I love that. And the only thing I've got about the gold box, it's only for tall people, isn't it? That one.
We'll just make sure a tall person wins.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to rig it.
What makes you think that all people on site are short?
Oh, I was just I can't win the gold box. I wouldn't be able to reach. It was purely selfish motivations, Nigel, if I'm honest.
Yeah,
Purely selfish.
Who knows? But it's not that. I mean, what is it? 5'10", maybe 6'1". I don't know. Anyway,
yeah, I'd be on my tiptoes. I'd be on the tip. No, I love that. I love that. What other things? So you mentioned you have your morning meeting, and I'm guessing that's every morning. How do you encourage a different, maybe not a different conversation, but the different things that are brought up? So rather than people moaning and whinging about the same issues and challenges that are just that have always been there, that might not be able to be fixed straight away. How do you encourage a little bit of variety and focusing on the right things that you can, within your gift and control, on that given day?
Well, I said that, there has to be some structure. So there are some things that we have to look at, health and safety. Did we have any accidents? Was everybody safe yesterday? Are there anything that we need to raise or pick up or close out? So there'll be a number of things that are structured around performance. That's that management side of things. One thing we do is we rotate departments. So each department takes the chair. So the morning meeting is held. So today was the technical department. The health and safety department. Tomorrow will be the technical department, and we'll just go through the department. So that creates a couple of things. It creates exposure for individuals, empowerment, bit of growth, bit of development, different conversation, different ways of running and chairing meetings. So variety,
Yeah, no, love that. Look.
Focus on the core things, focus on the things that are important, but add a bit of variety in there as well.
Yeah, no, completely. What is a good day for you, Nigel?
To go home and knowing that everybody's safe, everybody's gone home safe, and that we've added a little bit of value.
Yeah.
Just added value, that's it. And I think that if we can all look in the mirror and say, have I added value today? Not asking for huge value or out of the park value, we're just saying, have I added value today? And if you can answer that, if you can look yourself in the mirror and say, yeah, I've added value today, then I think the rest looks after itself.
Yeah, when you say added value, what's your definition of added value?
Now you're really pushing, aren't you? That we've hit our targets, that we've, like I said, everyone's been safe, that we've learned something, that we've definitely, moved on, we've fixed something, and we've moved further on in that journey that we're on. And I always talk about being on a journey and aspire to perfection. You never get to perfection, but you have to aspire to get there. And I think that if we're always getting a step closer, then for me that's what good looks like.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Nigel. I always say when I get in the bath and have a conversation, it stops when the bath water goes a little bit cold, or my fingers get a little bit wrinkly. I set the temperature a little bit too hot today, which is why I've been flushed throughout. It's not because I'm slightly embarrassed to be talking to you today, Nigel.
Okay.
But my fingers are getting a little bit wrinkly. But before they fully go wrinkly, where can people find out more about you, connect with you, understand a little bit more about you?
I'm on LinkedIn, so come and ask me a couple of questions if you're inquisitive about anything. If I can answer it, I'll answer it, and if I can't, I'll certainly push you in the right direction. Amazing.
No, thank you so much again, Nigel. Thank you for being on the pod. Thank you for joining me at the Tap End today. Is this your first experience watching a fellow wash himself while you're talking?
It hasn't been as uncomfortable as I thought it might be. So thanks for having me.
Well, who knows what happened on the second conversation, Nigel? Who knows? But thank you so much again, Nigel. I look forward to chat with you again very soon.
It's my pleasure, and stay safe and catch you again. Bye for now.